Welcome back to Fireside Giants, everybody. Today I just want to give another little daily update and especially talk about Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge today at the NFL Combine. They both, gave some good comments, and a lot of them were vague, but I just want to run through kind of what they said and what we should be taking away from it. Joe Judge was very, very apprehensive to give any information on his players or evaluations. So this is kind of what he had to say in a few quotes, and I'll break them down each and kind of give my opinion on what they think. I'd love to hear what you think down below in the comments section. As always, make sure to follow me on Twitter, AlexWilsonESM, and we have our podcast coming out every week. Make sure to tune in and give us a nice review on iTunes. So to get started, we have Joe Judge, and the first thing he said was, the only priority is to bring in good football players. We are not recreating any other program we've been a part of. So a big thing this offseason has been the focus of Judge being with Bill Belichick and, Alabama and Nick Saban. So that's been a really big focus for the media and everyone thinking, okay, Joe Judge is going to come in and he's going to bring those two styles with him and he's going to be really successful because of it. Now, I think that he wants to establish his own style and become the New York Giants football head coach. That's what he wants. He's going to implement important things that he's learned along the way, but don't expect him to replicate those guys exactly. He did take a very Belichick-esque approach to this interview, and you'll hear more of the quotes like, everybody's going to have the same opportunity on a daily basis to compete. The past is irrelevant. That is such a Bill Belichick quote, like not giving any information, just literally saying that everyone's going to be competing. So we all know that's going to be the case, and they're going to be evaluating everybody on a sliding scale. So nobody is safe at this point except for the obvious guys like Saquon Barkley. And I'm not even convinced Daniel Jones is safe at this point with the way he's talking about him. Obviously, I think he's the guy for the future. But we saw what Arizona did. They took a left field swing and just drafted Kyler Murray and traded away Josh Rosen. I don't think that's going to happen, and don't quote me on that at all. So that's just my 2 cents. But the next thing he had to say was he actually is implementing a different kind of strategy with, putting everybody in the same room. So all the new staff members are living in the same apartment complex away from their families. It's like a college dorm, according to him. So that's a really interesting way for them to, gain chemistry together and, find that middle ground to help each other develop and, make this team the way it should be. And that is successful. So in New York, we know how much of a struggle it's been the past few years with Ben McAdoo and Pat Shurmur. This is a really interesting concept that Judge is bringing to the Giants, and hopefully it works out. I think that, the coaches didn't really work well together per se. I mean, we saw Shurmur take over play calling duties, and Mike Shula was essentially just taking a back seat and helping, create some of these plays. For Shurmur to utilize, but for the most part, it seems like he wants to start off with something new and innovating. So one of the things that I actually found that was really interesting was that he had stated that he doesn't want any veteran players coming in and acting as coaches. He wants to make sure that they are coaching. The coaches are there to help the players develop. That is the main goal. In the past, Dave Gettleman brought in Jonathan Stewart, and older guys, Antoine Bethea, to come in and essentially help these guys develop. And I think that's a really stupid idea, personally, just because you can't be trusting these guys, who are supposed to be doing a job, supposed to be, helping themselves succeed, teach other players. I know DeAndre Baker said that, Bethea would help him in the classroom and help him with the film studies to better himself for the game. And obviously that didn't really translate that well. He did look a lot better at the end of the year, but the reality is they need to be doing their specific jobs, even if they're veterans. There cannot be this, older guys are teaching younger guys. The coaches are there for a reason. That's what they're being paid millions of dollars to do. So that's my opinion. I think that that's honestly a great way to look at it. However, it is essential to have those veteran guys with experience to come in and establish a foundation and a grounding in the locker room, just to make sure that the emotions are in the right place. They shouldn't be teaching them how to play the game of football. That's the coach's job. But they can establish a nice presence in the locker room. That is a totally different thing, in the atmospheric level in the locker room and on the practice field, like the high intensity, those things go a long way, and Joe Judge is not going to be lollygagging with any of that shit. So, be ready to see them work and disciplined, and they're going to be doing live tackling, which nobody has seen on the Giants in quite some time. So hopefully no injuries arise because of it, but knock on wood. But I think that it'll be a really good thing getting people into better football shape and perfecting their technique. That's a really interesting thing that I wanted to note as well. So as for Dave Gettleman, his quotes were equally as vague, but there was one really, really big one that we should be talking about. And if you didn't see it, it's that he was asked, are you going to be thinking about trading the 4th overall pick? And he said, we are open for business. That is exactly what I wanted to hear and exactly what the Giants need to do, especially if they want to add more draft capital. So if, Miami or the Chargers are looking to, let's say, trade up and get their quarterback, we know Detroit and Washington are right in front of the Giants. That doesn't mean that Miami and the Chargers, aren't looking to trade up and get their guy. So if Justin Herbert, which I think will probably slide a little bit, but Tua Tagovailoa is the guy that they're going to be looking to snag. And the Chargers are looking for a fresh quarterback, and that looks like the best option for the Giants in terms of a trade back scenario. And we just created a video a few days ago talking about this dream scenario that would include the Giants trading back 1 or 2 slots and still landing Isaiah Simmons, linebacker out of Clemson. So that would be a huge win, but that's a really big thing for Dave Gettleman to say that they are open for business. He has never traded back in a draft before, so that's really important to remember. Never happened. Seems like he's adopting a new mentality towards this, and this is the best opportunity that the Giants will have to add draft capital and move up and actually get more players and better players in the higher rounds, especially after the Leonard Williams trade, which he said that he would be killed over if he doesn't re-sign, but he says he has rhino thick skin. So, if he lets him go, we know that he doesn't really care that much, especially after seeing what he did with Patrick Omameh. He cut him after 3 games and signed him for 3 years. So I think that he could re-sign Williams, but if he doesn't, he's not really going to care. He doesn't really care about our opinion anyway. He's from the New England area. That guy is like, we are the last thing on his mind. He's looking to, help the Giants win. So a little bit more on the offensive line. Gettleman on Nate Solder. Like Joe said, everybody's got a blank slate and everybody's competing. So they're pretty much giving everybody a blank slate with Joe Judge coming in here. Nate Solder, didn't have the best year in 2019. I spoke a little bit more about, how he was going up from Boston to New York driving because his child has cancer, and that's, takes a toll on you mentally. Anybody would be suffering at that level. So I think, just keep that in mind and give him the benefit of the doubt moving forward. So, Solder, I think at left tackle, you got to give him another chance. I mean, I know this is his 3rd year with the Giants, going into his 3rd year, but the reality is that the Giants can't afford to bring a new left tackle and new right tackle, and they're going to be paying Solder like $19.5 million this year in his cap space, his cap hit, his dead cap hit specifically. If he's cut, they only save like $6.5 million, so there's no reason to cut him. They'd be losing so much more, and they don't want to leave 2 tackle positions wide open for the taking. That's not ideal, especially in a league where there's not that much talent at either position. So that was a big note, from Gettleman's comments. What else can we see here? So one thing that they asked him was about number 2, Saquon Barkley, being drafted in 2018 at the 2nd overall pick. You can make the argument that he's a gold jacket standard. That was the question that he asked 2 years ago. Gettleman talked about the gold jacket standard with number 2 pick overall, Saquon Barkley, and you could make the argument that's the case at number 4. So the reason that he doesn't want to trade back is not because he's afraid of losing that value, but he thinks the number 4 pick contains a really good player, and he doesn't want to take the risk of moving back and losing what could be, a guaranteed quality talent. I get it. Isaiah Simmons, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah, these guys are all, almost guaranteed talents, and you don't want to stray away from that mentality and trade back and take a guy that's a little bit more risky because you don't have the option of taking a top talent anymore. So I understand where he's coming from with that, but they can plug 2 players in. So theoretically speaking and probability wise, if you trade back and you gain a 2nd round pick, now you have 2 picks, right? 2 picks that you can get really good talent from. The probability is one of them will pan out, especially if it's a 1st rounder. So either way, you still have 1 guy that pans out instead of 1 guaranteed guy. And best case scenario, you have 2 guys that contribute in a big way. I think this is a no-brainer for the Giants, and I, think that Gettleman should be considering this very much. And he seems like he is, considering he said that the Giants are, in fact, open for business. But that's pretty much it from the quotes that were actually worth talking about. But thank you for listening to Fireside Giants, and please leave your comments below. I would love to interact and, include your questions and stuff in the next upcoming videos, and let me know what you guys want to see as well. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and keep a lookout for our podcast. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.